Welcome to the channel. Today I will be talking about a show called Murder Drones and giving you useless information about it because it's extremely popular and I am the leech of YouTube and will ruin everything for everyone by giving everyone useless information. The one thing in Murder Drones that makes it specifically special is the massive amount of violence. Because everyone is a robot and there are zero pesky humans, the robots can choose violence as an answer every time in every episode, and YouTube will not demonetize it because at best it's just a bunch of oil leaks and a bunch of corrupted wire. And every time blood is shown, it's basically just black oil, which isn't racist either because a lot of oil is actually black, and I don't understand how any of this works, and according to the YouTube system this makes perfect sense even though it shouldn't, but I still like it and YouTube seems to agree, so moving on. This is N. He is one of the characters and also one of the murder drones, the ones that kill everyone but also come in handy. He is very nice, very drippy, and is probably one of my favorite characters of all time because he is super relatable. He also has one of the biggest pieces of drip of all time, a pilot hat, which is ironic because in the first episode he appears in and also the first episode of the series, it's called Pilot apparently, and he might also be the pilot of an alien space pod in space that landed on Earth and stuff like that, which is probably how they got there, but I don't really understand how that works and stuff, but he's really cool. Now you have Uzi. She is very psychotic and probably has bipolar disorder from the amount of times she's gone from absolutely insane to absolutely chill. Her last name is Dormant because her dad makes doors and stuff. She does not give a shit about knives. Whenever she goes near knives, they are afraid of her. They're afraid she's gonna bend them three ways out and absolutely crush them. And she also made friends with N by literally giving him a grade 3 concussion. I'm not joking. She actually gave him a concussion that made him lose 3 hours worth of his memory. And this is V. She is not my favorite character. She is like a murder drone, just like N. She is a murder drone. I should have worded that better. And she has about as much mercy and pity as Vladimir Putin. And her forehead is just as big. Don't you think that her hair is pretty? It's hiding her massive forehead, which has a bigger diameter than Earth itself. She is probably the person that uses alcohol wipes on the ones that really sting on cuts. And she likes violence way too much. She shoves violence up everyone's face when no one asks for it. And is probably the most psychotic of the team. Now, there are three types of worker drones, and I have to be quiet because I don't want to yell and go on a rant. Some of these are completely useless, but basically, you have a worker drone who's absolutely useless, extremely dumb, zero logic, zero bitches, and zero power because they are literally the NPCs of a series. Now you have people like Uzi, they are very special, they have like these psychic powers, they are very smart, they have force fields, and can also regenerate from stab wounds, which is impressive, for a regular robot or person in this scenario. And you also have murder drones, aka, and they are meant to kill these like worker drones, the useless zero bitches, zero power one. And basically speaking, they are mostly psychotic. They have a large ass hand sword. They can have large scale healing, like regenerating your head. And they have the R. Kelly ability to fly. And they also have these acid tanks and a freaking gun. They are armed and dangerous. That's what I'm saying. Also, for some reason, the creators decide to completely shut down on the robots having any sort of pants, which I don't care about what they say. I just don't understand why they couldn't give anyone pants. It makes people feel uncomfortable, but also you can be expecting some freaky fan art from that. Like, people usually do freaky fan art before a series is even released, but this is just kind of a dumb mistake that I really do not get. Oh, and by the way, this is probably my favorite part, but basically, the series is created by a person called Luke Lerdewichgal. I think I probably mispronounced that in French or something, and he is from Australia. And The first thing I have to say about him is he's actually created one of my favorite channels. It's called SMG4, and basically what happened is he saw a glitch one time, so he created a channel based on glitches, but soon turned to funny Mario videos with memes. He then added some lore around like 2018 or something, and also created a channel called Glitch because he didn't want to add too much lore and ruin the funny Mario videos. He has created many underrated series like Meta Runner and Sunset Paradise, which each have their own respective amount of episodes and are each really good, if I have to say so myself. Now back to Uzi. She has a giant machine gun, which is how she basically annihilated N's head, and she also basically pirates anime illegally. But I don't think that can count as illegal when you consider everyone's a robot and stuff, so she probably just stole some stuff. For some reason, the murder drones like Ant need to kill worker drones or else they'll overheat and die because they need to feed off the oil in the worker drones, just like how Discord mods die if they don't get enough McDonald's oil. They also didn't try to, I don't know, do something like a blood transfusion hospital. That would have been way easier and less violent, but I guess that doesn't matter because the murder drones would just kill everyone anyway, so yeah. According to the Luke, at least, there would be around 8 episodes in the Murder Drones Season 1. For some reason, their healing is kind of broken and illogical and can regenerate his entire head, but V can't even regenerate an entire arm, which doesn't make too much sense when you consider that a head is probably more important than an arm in human sense, but I guess robots just work differently. It's also probably likely that all the drones and robots we see are made of some kind of low carbon steel, since based on the temperature and stuff like that, Earth wouldn't exactly lose all its heat. It'd still be near the sun, but it probably would not get as much heat and be Antarctic level temperatures, which can reach around negative 150 degrees Fahrenheit. And they would probably need that steel since it's probably one of the only metals that can actually take temperatures that are higher or lower in this scenario. And also, for some reason, even though the murder drones are only like a 50-degree difference between freezing to death, they can still walk in regular clothing with no shit to care about the weather. Okay, so how should I put this? Basically, in the beginning scene, Anna and his buddies fly from this like planet, which I assume is Pluto, since like with the based on sizes and stuff, it's very complex. But basically, N flew from what I assume is Pluto to Earth, which is 3.91 billion miles away. He flew to that in 2 seconds, which means he's going like 90 billion miles per hour. And comparison to the fastest spacecraft, which could only clock out a measly 430,000 miles per hour, it looks like those things are slugs compared to N and his buddies. The other thing I'd like to point out, the worker drones have all these very large pieces of equipment to, build walls and stuff to protect themselves from the murder drones. But the problem I have with this, just like how I choke when I'm recording these videos, is that like, come on, they're murder drones, but they're not exactly super durable. We clearly see that they can be hurt very easily. Uzi literally threw a company-made pen at a murder drone, and it hurt. It actually caused a lot of bleeding, and she could do the same thing with a kick. I just stuttered so hard, but the basic idea is that you can literally hurt the murder drones very badly if you just grab a weapon or a piece of equipment. Like, you have these big-ass pieces of equipment, yet you can't hurt them. That's like saying, I have a gun, but I'm pointing it at myself because of the plot, so I don't harm the villain. That's very illogical, to say the least. But by the way, I think Murder Drones is a really good show. I give it a 10 out of 10 because, to be honest, I'm an SMG4 fan myself, and I really enjoyed this videos. So it has like everything SMG4 has, but with a different plot, and I really like it. And N's my favorite character. I know you guys might like Uzi, but I'm really a big fan of N. He's like the most relatable. And I know that it has a lot of violence, but I'm a psychopath and I really like violence, to say the least. Or at least I just like the fights and action and the way it spins my head. and like go subscribe or whatever. I don't really care, but like come on, just give it a like or something so I can look half decent, or else YouTube's probably just gonna take all my money and stuff like that. So like yeah, bye everybody. And that is useless information about murder drones, by the way. I probably should have added that earlier.